know we're slowly trickling in. We want to honor your time, and we want to start promptly at 8:30 today. My name is Carolina Lopez, and I am the new bilingual coordinator for our district. So for those of you who know me, you did not get rid of me that quickly because I am back. So I look forward to working with all of you this year. I'm super excited for the wonderful things that we have planned for you as our teachers of emergent bilinguals and also our emergent bilinguals this year. Can you believe it? This is the 7th annual Differentiated Instruction Fiesta. It seems like just yesterday, I clearly remember sitting in the think tank and thinking, what can we do to provide our teachers? And coming up with a group of my colleagues and thinking, you know what, why don't we do this? We've never really had a conference. We knew of other districts that were offering a conference. And that little idea has now been going strong for 7 years. So I want to thank you for being here today because guess what? You won't have to worry about your hours during the year. You get them out of the way. So before we get started, if you're anything like me, in order to focus, you kind of need to get some questions answered. And I know there's a lot of burning questions out there. I've gotten a lot of emails and text messages and just people stopping by to visit. So I want to answer some of your questions today. First one is food related, because if tenemos que tener la panza llena, right? So there is sweetbread in the main building at Central Middle School by the staircase where we've always had it. And there's also some coffee. It was brewing earlier, but I'm sure it's ready. You'll have some time to mingle throughout the conference. Lunch. Lunch is on your own this year, okay, from 12 to 1. So this might be the first time you're seeing some of your peeps that you haven't seen all summer. So take some time. You have an hour lunch. Go and enjoy. It's not the entire district, so guess what? There'll actually be a restaurant that you can sit at. So lunch is on your own today from 12 to 1. And then the million-dollar question. I'm sure you all are going to like to hear the next one. And that is that this year, for the 24-25 school year, in order to be eligible for the bilingual or ESL stipend, you will need to complete 6 hours of professional learning related to emergent bilinguals. Again, you will need to complete 6 hours. So that is why when you looked at the conference program, you saw only 6 hours available. So if you're registered for this session today, that means that you're also signed in. You will get an hour credit for today's session, general keynote, and then you have 5 breakouts. Some of you are only going to 2, depending if your session is 2 hours or 3 hours long, but the majority of you have signed up for 1-hour sessions, and so there's 5 of them throughout the day with 15-minute intermission. So that's going to be your time to take care of your needs, go to the restroom, maybe see if there's some water, coffee, sweetbread, anything you want, just to get that mental break from all of that learning that you'll be doing today. I do ask that you please sign in, okay? Make sure that at every session you sign in. That is so important. That's the way that you prove that you are physically present at the session. Now, I understand that we have some new teachers in our district who are new to the district who do not have an email today. I want to thank you for being here. So listen up, new teachers who are not registered for the session. I will need you to print and sign your name. Not only sign, but print, because guess what? Sometimes we don't read, we don't understand signatures. And also very important is you need to put your location. Where were you hired, or where were you being recommended? Where's a location that you know yourself to be? Because that's how we'll find you. Once you're in the system and you have an email, we'll be able to say, okay, Robert Cantu was hired for Westaco East, and this is where we'll find him to give credit. So very, very important. Make sure you print your name and that you also sign. Make sure that you are at your session on time. Presenters have received specific instructions on collecting signatures from you at the beginning of their session, so please make sure that you're there on time so that you are not counted absent. Another burning question, there is no PM general session. Again, there is no PM general session. So some of you have asked, do I need to come back to the pack before I leave? No. So if you signed up for the last breakout, which is 1 hour from, I believe it's 3:30 to 4:30, then you're done. you're done at 4:30. Some of you signed up for a session that's from 1 to 4. Then guess what? At 4, you're done. You get to go back to your families and enjoy what's left of your summer vacation. Also, make sure that you are monitoring your credit throughout the day. So we have staff on hand who is going to be granting credit. So have your devices close by, be looking at those Eduphoria emails come in so that you can make sure that you're getting credit. Don't panic if you don't get credit right away, because it does take time to go, click, find your name. But by the end of the day, you want to kind of keep a count of, okay, how many times have I been marked present to make sure you have all of your hours. If there are any questions or anything that you need, you can find help in the library. So we'll be located in the library in case you need any help. There's also some folks who are wearing a lanyard that's a yellow badge that says Usher. Any of those people can help you answer your questions throughout the day. I got a question on attire, and it's a little too late to say this, but for future reference, guys, this is your day. This is a non-contract day. So, I'm sure a lot of you have relationships with your principals. Whatever is the general rule of thumb for your principal, that'll be the rule of thumb here, okay? So I know the big question was jeans, because I know jeans are very important. I just want to make sure that you're here, that you're present, and that you're learning. So don't stress too much about that. Let me think. Was there any other announcement that I need to make? I think we've got it all covered. So if your brain works anything like mine, now hopefully you can focus and okay, I know when I'm going to get to eat. I know when I'm going to get to talk to my friends. I know when I'm going to get credit. I know what to expect, and I know where to get help. Okay, so with that started, we're going to kick off our Differentiated Instruction Fiesta Conference. This is our 7th annual, 7 years. And today we have someone really special with us to share a message. I meet amazing people every day. And by that, I'm not saying I'm necessarily meeting celebrities. But something that I've learned along the way is that everybody has a story to tell. And sometimes when it's our own story, we don't think there is anything special about it. It's not until we start opening ourselves to others and sharing pieces of ourselves that we realize, hey, you know what? I can't believe I survived that. And you know what? I not only survived, but I thrived. So today's speaker, as you hear this gentleman speak, I want you to think of your own life. And I want you to think of yourself as a little kid in the classroom. I want you to think of all of your hopes, all of your dreams, all of your ambitions. And then I want you to fast forward to today and where you're at now and what you've accomplished and what you've been able to do. And then I want you to think about, how did that happen? So along the way, there were certain people that you met. They say that those people are angels. There's friends. There's family that help us get to where we're at. And so when I first met this individual and I heard a little bit of his story, I was completely amazed once again. And what amazes me the most is we can literally be walking at H-E-B or Walmart and we don't realize the story behind that external shell that we see of a person. So I want you to think about that today as I introduce to you my friend, Mr. Ernesto Mejia. We can give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Buenos dias. Y'all can't even lie to yourselves right now, okay? Nice try. As I was hearing Dr. Lopez, and thank you for that introduction, speak, I could see that back to school vibe happening in here. It was beautiful, really. 4 o'clock can't come soon enough. I can see it in your faces. It's okay. My name is Ernesto Mejia Macías y soy orgullosamente producto de padres de Zacatecas, Mexico. Prima! Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. She scared me. All right, I appreciate that. I am honored to be here with you today, and more importantly, honored to be your keynote for the topic. I'm calling you all the Olympic/life qualifiers right now, okay? Because you are the ones that are creating these Olympic athletes. You are. You are the ones that are helping them earn more money. Now, as you're sitting here, don't get angry with me like, yeah, I wish I was making more money. Stop, okay? But bilingual workers can make between 5 to 20% more. And according to LinkedIn, here are 5 of the bigger jobs. But let me give you another one that most of you probably don't even promote. My job. I get to make more money because I am fully bilingual. Puedo dar mis talleres y mis discursos en español gracias a mis papás. I am able to create more revenue because of it. Unfortunately, I would suggest we prepare them for reality also. Sometimes you are going to end up at a job in a different state where you are just called upon because you are the bilingual one. And there is no additional pay. That's when you have to kind of stand up and figure out if that's what you want. But I wanted to bring this to light because, as Dr. Lopez said, I want you to think about back when you were a student. In some cases, we were told not to speak in Spanish so that we could adapt, so that we could acclimate, so that we could fit in. No, don't speak Spanish. And back then, you were happy to comply. And now, you're also happy to blame your parents. No picky Spanish, my parents, their fault. They told me not to. I listen very well. Nada más lo que te convenía, you listen very well, okay? Sometimes you listen very well. But I want you to be aware of that because it does impact what you're doing. So, before I continue, I'm going to ask you to partner up with somebody. Partners means 2. So that might mean you might need to move, okay? 3 musketeers. So get in partners. Get in partners. Everybody needs one partner. Just one partner. For those of you that are with all your comadres, just break up, okay? Partners. 2s. Everybody is in 2s. Everybody is in 2s. As you are getting with your partner, I want you to determine which one of you is A and which one of you is B. Again, which one of you is A and which one of you is B. Partners means 2. I need you in 2s, okay? Work with me. Nothing is going to happen to your friend if you're in 3s and she has to find somebody else, or he does, okay? All right, now that you are in partners, I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to think back to when you were in school. Go K through 12, pick whichever year you want. There was a teacher that helped you, that believed in you, that encouraged you, that supported you a little bit more than the other ones. There's always one in the audience, and I know you're sitting in here. I didn't have any of those teachers. I had to figure it out by myself. Good for you for figuring it out. However, somebody pushed you a little bit more, encouraged you a little bit more, maybe went to your house, maybe spoke with your parents. Maybe they just told you that they saw potential in you. And if you were like me, back when they used to say that, I see a lot of potential in you. I'd be like, well, I don't know where you see it because I don't see it anywhere. I don't know what you're talking about. So here's what I want you to do. Without overthinking it, I want you to share who that teacher is with your partner. Now you picked who's A and who's B, and because I know how you educators function, you assigned A. So B, you go first. Go ahead, share that educator with your partner. B goes first, and then A goes next. 1 minute each. All right, raise your hand if you can hear me, please. Look at that, preschool techniques worth with adults too, hands down. Now, I could see some of you light up when you were talking about the teacher. I could see you express what they did for you. I could also see you do something that I want to give you a fair warning as we're coming back to school. You don't have to be the one that talks at all times. Allow our students to talk. Pose questions that are easier for them to handle. Don't ask me what I did this summer if you know I was working in the fields all summer to help my family, because I'm not as eager to tell you that as a student that says, oh, I just went to the Olympics. It's a little different. And trust me when I tell you this, because I've heard it from students and I've heard it at home. Then we're starting to teach them how to lie. Well, I don't want to say something that's embarrassing. Oh, we went up north to this real cool place. What was it called? Michigan? Where was it? Oh, it was a blueberry field, but it was cool, you know. they want to share something different. So here's where the challenge becomes. Let me hear from 4 of you if you can tell me about that teacher. 4 of you. Anybody. 4 of you. Tell me who that teacher was that you shared. And if you don't want to share, then your partner will share for you. You pick which route we want to go, okay? So 4 of you, raise your hand, please. And I have a mic. If I need to run, I'll run. Of course, you're all the way to the back. Okay, sure. I want to make sure everybody can hear you. Let me get my cardio in today. Here we go. Can you stand up so everybody can see you, please? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Do you mind singing us a song to start off? No, I'm just kidding. No, not that part. No.
All right. No.
He said sure.
All right. So I'm going to share about Mr. Vasquez here, Michael Vasquez. Because I messed up the assignment. I didn't share mine. He shared his.
You're good. You're good.
He was just sharing about Mrs. Rodriguez in 7th grade, was his math teacher. And apparently, he had the unofficial title of classroom CP. You all know what CP means. We know what CP means, right?
You might want to help out there a little bit.
We're being bilingual, right?
There you go.
And so his math teacher had him sit in front, and it wasn't so much for the purpose of embarrassing him, but using it as a I see you. And throughout the year, just continue to, instead of just, and he said, because I asked him, I said, hey, was this the first teacher that treated you like that? And he said, yeah. I mean, the rest is kind of, it's this kid again. Everybody knew about Michael Vasquez, a.k.a. El Mike, a.k.a. CP. And so as he went from classroom to classroom, every other teacher just ignored him until he got to Mrs. Rodriguez. He even shared a very nice story about how she tore up a kid's absence slip, and he said, Miss, I'm gonna.
Go ahead, please. Go into character.
Miss, se lo pongo para atrás, nos compra pizza. He said it in English, but I imagine that's how he said it. And sure enough, he put it back together, and she got them pizza. So.
All right. Very good. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. A round of applause. Thank you. Appreciate you. Somebody else. Let me hear about that teacher. Right here. Thank you. Well, you two can share the mic right here. Thank you.
Yeah. So when I was in 4th grade, my teacher noticed how much I loved reading, and so she would kind of make a special book list for me of books that she thought I would like. And it made me feel so special, and it made me even more excited to read. And then we'd get to have like these one-on-one discussions about what I thought about the book. And then she'd say, well, if you like this one, then you should read this one. And so it just really like reinforced my love of reading and made me feel like I was a good reader, and I am a reader, and just kind of helped shape that identity that carried me as a reader for the rest of my life, really. So.
Tell me your name, please.
Julianne Jones.
Julianne. Let's give Julianne a round of applause, please.
Okay, so for me, my teacher was Miss Sylvia Cromer. She still works in the district. As a new student coming in from Mexico in 6th grade, you know, I was very, very shy, very insecure. She saw the potential in me. She, right away, she noticed my skills in math, and she promoted for me to move to the advanced classes. She gave me a lot of support, a lot of love, and she was one of my first, you know, inspiring and motivating teachers. So.
Very good. Tell me your name, please.
Abigail Gonzalez.
Abigail. I like how you said Abigail. You really highlighted. I used to be shy in 6th grade. That changed, but that was 6th grade. Okay. Give her a round of applause for real now. Thank you. Really? Let me get one more person. I love how you all are acting just like our students. You're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rita Cavazos. My most memorable teacher is S.J. Ramirez, 4th grade, Sam Houston. As a child, I hated school. I remember crying every single day. I was one of those criers. And so S.J. Ramirez encouraged me, and she loved on me so much. And I remember we did a lot of plays in our classroom. And I remember that she brought in my mother, who as a Mexican mom, you know that sometimes they're not involved in school. She wouldn't go to school,
Right.
you know, to talk to our teachers. And I remember my mother taking a taxi to come see me in one of our plays. And to this day, anytime I see Mrs. Ramirez, I give her a big hug. And I tell her how much I appreciate her. She touched me so much, and because of her, I think that is one of the main reasons why I became a teacher. I became a teacher. And when I was talking to my husband, and he was smiling, he said, I already know, Esther Ramirez. That's her.
That's a good husband. That's a good husband. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Thank you. Good job. Well, now that you ruined my makeup for this morning, thank you very much. So I don't know if you noticed, but even while you're talking about some of these teachers, some of you that had them as teachers, I could see in your faces. When you said the name, the other person was like, oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, yeah. Or the one like, not so much for me, but okay, good for you. And that's the case. That's the deal. Whatever's great for one won't necessarily be for the other. And it's what we're looking for, where we're at in life. So there was a point where I had hair. I know you're all wondering. That is me, yes. Growing up bilingual for me was interesting because I grew up in Michigan, actually. For those of you unaware, this is the map of Michigan, so you get to say where you live. Well, I live right here. My parents came from Zacatecas, but my dad worked in California. How they ended up in Michigan is beyond me. We were 40 minutes from Canada. I used to tell my parents, like, we might as well just gone the whole way, like 40 more minutes and you were in Canada. But I want to share some stories with you about the importance of at-home learning and how we express the importance of bilingualism. Some of our parents might be new to the country and are still subscribing to old school styles of, no, just speak English, because that's the only way you're going to learn. While there is some validity to it, you cannot lose your home language, your first language, and more importantly, your manner to communicate with your own loved ones. So for me, there wasn't an issue of learning or practicing my Spanish in school because I was one of 4 bilingual people there. Well, one of 4 Hispanics, let's just say one of 2 bilingual people there. And that wasn't an issue. So my teacher was my mom. My mom had a 6th grade education. And my mom was teaching me back then the importance of being bilingual. She was like, mijo, this is going to help you. If you don't speak Spanish, mijo means sexy, attractive male. If you do, then it might mean something else for you. Mijo, esto te va a ayudar. And all I could think of is like, Mom, nobody even speaks Spanish at school. When could this possibly help me? Sure, I'll learn the ñ, la tilde, el acento, and all that. Like, sure, it's going to help me at one point in my life. And I was like, it just doesn't make sense. Why would it help me? And that's part of the challenge with some of our students. We have to be aware of our surroundings. I worked at an HSI in Chicago, a Hispanic serving institution. I was a college dean for 5 years there. We had 78% Hispanic population in the college. When I would take my students to a conference, and it was not a Hispanic conference, they would move around like sheep. Vámonos al baño. And they'd all go to the bathroom. Vamos a comer. They'd all sit down together. You have to remember about your environment. In some cases, they are speaking Spanish regularly, and others they aren't. In some cases, it isn't a challenge to practice your Spanish or other languages. In other cases, they are. But here is the one disclaimer that I will give you, and I'm going to ask you a huge favor. Please ensure we're speaking proper language, and in particular, Spanish. Because so many of our kids think they're bilingual. Sí, me parqué allá y voy a mapear allá, none of which are words. But because we use them, we tend to think that they are. And then we put them in a professional setting, and they're like, I don't know how to say that. And then they're using Google. And then they're calling mom. And they're calling dad. And they're trying to figure it out. Well, my mom wanted to make sure that I could figure it out on my own, and she taught me, I think, the biggest technique to my bilingualism. Mijo, va a llegar el día donde no puedes decir nada. The day is going to come where you're not going to be able to translate and say what you want to say. So you have to figure out how to describe it in other words so that you still get that same picture, that same thought, that same idea across. So I never felt like I was going to get stuck until she took me to the doctor and say, tell me what the doctor's saying. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to say any of these words. Que si le duele la cama. Like, I didn't know how to explain anything. But you have to remember that we're the ones not just teaching them, but encouraging them, supporting them, making them feel like they can do the impossible. Remind me your name again, please. Miss Cavazos, correct? Miss Cavazos. When did you have that teacher? Fourth grade. Mrs. Cavazos, did you show up to school in fourth grade and be like, man, I'm going to be a teacher just like this teacher right here? Not at the beginning. You were probably still crying, right? You're probably still showing up like, I don't want to be here, you know. But that teacher impacted you, your future, the way you are, the way you teach, the way you impact. And I need us to remember that. Because look, I have two problems. One is I don't have to comb my hair, but two, I'm very honest and direct. None of us signed up for this job to become multimillionaires. Just the truth. Some of you are looking at your neighbors like, I can't even pay my bills right now. I know, but that's a whole other question, okay? However, you did sign up to make a difference. You did sign up to impact that student that felt left out, maybe made fun of, maybe discouraged, maybe just didn't want to be there because they couldn't speak the language. They wanted to practice speaking another language, but there wasn't that safe space to do it. And it makes a difference. It really does. And I want to prove something to you that Dr. Lopez was able to see me do with the students. Our students, as well as you, can do the impossible. But sometimes we don't believe it until it actually happens. So for example, what if I told you I can control the way your right foot moves? Most of you, just like you're looking at me now, like, bro, you ain't that good. Like, you might be good, but you're not going to control the way my foot moves. Let's see who's right. Everybody point with your right index finger, please. Everybody point with your right index finger. Or la derecha, that one. Point with your right index finger, please. Now I need you to lift your right foot up. It's the one on the same side. Now I need you to twist your ankle to the right. Turn your foot. I'm going to make it either stop or go the other way. While looking at your foot, this is where you find out how your hips are doing too. While looking at your foot, don't look at me, look at your foot. While twisting your ankle to the right, keep on looking at your foot, don't look at me. Looking at your foot, twisting your ankle to the right, draw a number 6 with your finger and see what happens to your foot. Some of you I can see in your faces, El Chamuco! No, it's not. Don't freak out. No, I don't have like magical powers. That's me asking you to use both sides of your brain simultaneously. And as research has shown us, bilingual, trilingual students, their brains work a little bit differently. They can access information a little bit quicker in a different manner because of that ability to speak 2 languages. Now, before you leave today's PD and go home and say, this is what I learned, sit down. I'm going to control the way your foot moves. Y si gano me haces enchiladas, okay? No. Before that's all you leave with, let me explain to you. That's you trying to use both sides of your brain simultaneously. You can do this all day. You can do this all day. But when I ask you to do them both at the same time, your brain's like, mixed signals, I can't get this through. It crashes. So let me prove to you again that the impossible can happen, and I'm doing it as an example of what you can do for our students. I give myself 7 minutes to teach you 15 random words that make absolutely no sense to you. Monkey, iron, robe, kite, house, shoe, worm, envelope, pencil, river, rocks, trees, cheese, quarters, and cool speak. Anybody in here believe they can get all 15 words in 7 minutes? That's the spirit, people, okay. Not a single hand went up. And in case you're wondering how I'm making the comparison, that's like telling your student, you just need to practice and you're going to be able to speak English in no time. Okay. It's not how I feel. It's not what I see. It's not what I hear. So if I told you that in 7 minutes I can teach you 15 random words and none of you believe me, even though I just did the impossible by controlling the way your foot moves, you still didn't think I could do the impossible of teaching you 15 words. I'll give it one more shot. Does anybody in here think they can learn all 15 words in the 7 minutes? One person. What's your name? Janie. She's like, I shouldn't have put my hand up. Okay. Tell me your name again. Janie. Janie? Janie, let's make it interesting. I'll bet you $100 you can get the words. Now everybody else is like, yo también. Too late now. Okay. Janie, but here's how the bet works. If you get them, you win. If you lose, you don't have to pay me. Are you in? Now everybody else, yo también. Too late again still. No writing, no cell phone, no pencil, just the power of your brain learning in a manner that we're not taught how to learn, using both sides of it simultaneously. Okay? So here we go. I need everybody to picture your living room at home. Picture your living room at home. What's in your living room? Your TV, your couches, your windows. Como buenos hispanos, una veladora, un Jesucristo. There's something in there. You picture your living room. In your living room, there's a monkey. Picture the monkey. What kind of monkey is it? Okay? King Kong, Donkey Kong, Curious George, I don't know, whatever kind of monkey you want. There's a monkey in your living room. The monkey is using an iron. Picture the iron. What color is it? What shape is it? Is it hot? Is it cold? Does it have water? It's using an iron to get your clothes ready for work. Okay? So the monkey is ironing your clothes. Very weird, I know. Tied to an iron is a rope. Picture the rope. How wide is it? How thick is it? What color is it? What texture is it? What's that rope look like? What's it feel like? Because that rope is going out the window of your house. Because at the end of the rope, there's a kite. Picture the kite. What color is it? What shape is it? What's it look like? Does it have ribbons? How's it flying around in the sky? What color is it? What's it sound like? That kite is flying around in the sky, but it's so windy that it smashes against your house. So picture the kite smashing against your house. After it hits your house, it falls to the ground and it falls next to a stinky shoe. Picture the shoe, a tennis shoe, a shoe, Velcro, laces, new, old. What color is it? How does it look? Does it smell? Pop quiz. When our students, just like you, hear those words, all of a sudden, we get a little tense. We get a little nervous. We need to teach them to breathe, think happy thoughts, and relax. Because if not, that test anxiety only continues to build. So pop quiz. I'm going to ask some questions and you all shout out the answers. What's in your living room? Okay, it doesn't need to be sad. You can answer them like, okay. What's in your living room? It's using a? Which is tied to a? What's at the end of the rope? It hits your? Falls next to a? Okay. We're doing pretty good. Coming out of the shoe is a worm. Picture the worm. What color is it? What shape is it? How long is it? What's it feel like? What's it look like? Picture that worm. Because that worm then moves into an envelope. Picture the envelope. How wide is it? How tall is it? What color is it? What's that envelope look like? That worm moves into the envelope. Then things get really weird because a magical pencil appears. Picture that magical pencil writing your name, whatever your name is, and I heart whatever you heart. So mine would say, Ernesto Mejia Macias, I heart tacos. Okay, whatever it is. It's writing so fast, though, that it falls into the river. Picture the river. How wide is it? What color is it? What's it sound like? What's it look like? What's it smell like? That river stream then splashes against a pile of rocks. How wide are these rocks? How tall are these rocks? What texture are these rocks? What do these rocks feel like? What do they look like? Picture them. That river stream that splashes into the rocks then splashes into a tree. How tall is the tree? How wide is the tree? What color is the tree? What's the texture of the tree? Does it have leaves, needles? What do the branches look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Here's where things are going to get super wacky. Just roll with me, okay? Growing out of the tree's branches is cheese. You heard me right. Growing out of the tree's branches is cheese. You picture the cheese, whatever cheese you want. Cheddar cheese, Kobe cheese, string cheese, pepper jack, Chihuahua, Oaxaca, Menonita, I don't care, whatever kind of cheese you want, that's what's growing out of that tree. Sliding out of the cheese, hear it, sliding out of the cheese are quarters. I need you to hear and see the quarters sliding out of the cheese. Quarters. All of the quarters are falling onto cool speak. Cool and speak. All of the quarters are falling onto what? Okay, let's pretend we can shout it out a little bit louder. All the quarters are falling onto what? Cool speak. All right. Pop quiz number 1. Remind me your name again, I'm sorry. Janie? You might as well start walking up here because it's going to happen if you don't mind. Come on up. Pop quiz, here we go. In your living room, there's a... Okay, so let's pretend we all learned them, okay? Not just the 8 people that shouted out. In your living room, there's a... It's using a... Which is tied to a... What's at the end of the rope? The kite hits your... Falls next to a... What's coming out of the shoe? It moves into an... The magical... Falls into the... Hits a pile of... Splashes into a... What's growing out of the tree? What's sliding out of the cheese? All the quarters are falling onto... Cool speak. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on up, please. No pressure at all. Nobody's watching, don't worry. Here's the beautiful thing. Remember when I asked if anybody could get the words? Not a single hand went up except yours. Not a single hand went up. Let me give you this, please.
Okay.
And then, now that you're here, if you don't get it or you mess up, all of a sudden everybody knows the words.
I know.
And then when I ask them that they can help you, this is how they help. They think nobody can hear them. Tree. Tree's the next word. They think they're whispering, even though the whole room can hear them. Okay? So, again, tell me your name and what you do here in the district.
Hi, I'm Janie Bai Cook. I am a 5th grade math teacher at Silva Elementary. I left the district, I just came back. So
welcome back. So give her a round of applause for sure. Come on up here. Can you do me a favor? Can you talk about that one teacher real quick that you spoke about while you were sharing?
Okay, my one teacher that motivated me the most was also a 4th grade teacher, and he taught for the district for many years. His name was Mr. Rene Venecia.
Okay.
He was my 4th grade social studies teacher. I loved him a lot because every time that, you know, he was really interesting in his teaching, and I liked the way he always motivated me to talk.
Good.
Participate in class.
And look at where you're at now, okay. Now, I don't know if you noticed, you said Mr. Rene, what was his name?
Venecia.
Venecia. And I don't know if people got sad or angry. Oh, you could hear it in the audience,
Yes,
okay?
yes, yes.
Now, as I'm talking to you, there are some people getting anxious in the audience. Shut up, stupid, just ask them the words. Just let her talk to I can see it in you, trust me. But here's the beautiful thing. The reason that I'm asking you these questions is that I've taught you how to memorize them in a different manner.
Okay.
When you empower our bilingual learners, or dual language, or EBs, when you empower them to feel that they can do the impossible, they start walking around a little bit differently. Like, I'm kind of smart, excuse me. Teacher needs me. Need to help them out here. All 15 words in the order that you learned them, you share them however you want. You have a lot of tutors in here now that all of a sudden know all the words, and they didn't even volunteer a little while ago, okay? Go ahead, stage is yours.
I just say the words then.
You just say the words, say the story, however you want.
Okay, monkey,
Yep,
iron,
yep.
rope, kite, smash.
What's
Oh, hit the
monkey,
house.
iron, rope, kite, house?
House, shoe, worm, envelope, marker,
Sure.
river,
Yep,
rock,
yep,
tree,
yep.
cheese,
What'd I tell you? It never fails.
coins, coin speak,
Cool speak.
cool speak.
There you go, cool speak. Good enough, all right. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That is for you. You can give it to me at the end, it's just for show, okay? Give her a round of applause. I'm just messing with you. Give her a round of applause. Now, one of the reasons that I do that is to prove multiple points. Just like our students, you're told not to do something. And what just happened? Jeez. 80 of you at the same time, really quietly. Jeez, you got this. We want to encourage. We want to support. But just like our students, when you're able to accomplish something that you did not feel that you could do, the impossible will happen. And you start believing in yourself. And you start thinking that you can do more than what you originally thought that you could. Let me prove it. Everybody, as loud as possible. What's falling onto cool speak? Quarters. What's before the quarters? What's before the cheese? What's before the tree? What's before the rocks? What's before the river? What's before the pencil? What's before the envelope? What's before the worm? What's before the shoe? What's before the house? What's before the kite? You guys are getting lower and lower. Rope. What's before the rope? What's before the iron? The pencil falls into the water splashes into what's growing from the trees? What's before the kite? You learn 15 words beginning to end to beginning, and any other way that I ask you in less than 7 minutes. If you know that you can do that as a student, you can do anything. You really can. But it's believing in yourself, and that's part of the challenge. And let me tell you, that kid right there did not believe in himself. I was fully bilingual. Spanish is my first language. I remember going to school. My mom took me to school. Mijo, aquí vas a aprender bien mucho. You're going to learn so much here. You're going to love your teacher, Miss Pues no sé decir su nombre, ¿verdad? But she's going to be a great teacher. She couldn't even say her name. And I remember meeting Miss Van Vielen, my kindergarten teacher. I can see her glasses. I can see her dress. Because those memories are attached to an emotion. That's why we're able to draw them back in. And I remember Mrs. Van Vielen inviting me to the classroom with my mom, and me hanging on to my mom like, aquí no. Why? That was when I first started to have to just speak in English. It was my first time. And Mrs. Van Vielen, welcome to our class, Ernesto Mejia. I'm like, Mamá, esta vieja está loca, no sabe lo que está diciendo. Like, this isn't going to work. And she's like, mijo, ella no sabe español. She doesn't know Spanish. Tú vas a tener que enseñarles a ellos cómo se dice tu nombre. You are going to have to teach them how to say your name. Little did I know that was going to be a rule for the rest of my life. But it was. And if you have that kind of name, you know what it's like. As soon as they're doing roll call in the classroom, yeah, I'm here. Don't slaughter it, please. I'm here. I already know which one you're trying to say. Well, Mrs. Van Vielen made me feel special. Mrs. McLean made me feel like I could conquer math. Mrs. Teetons made me feel like anything was possible. Mr. Conklin allowed me to be proud of my heritage and my culture because I brought my dad in for show and tell. And guess what? My dad didn't speak English. And I said, Mr. Conklin, how's this going to work? Because I'm the only one that speaks Spanish. Well, I guess you're going to be the one that tells us what he says. I'm like, oh, this could be fun. I went back to my dad. Jetón, because you know as Hispanics we have the most ignorant nicknames for our significant others. Vieja, panzona, flaco, feo, chaparro, enano. That's because we love one another. You know, shorty, fatso, ugly, skinny woman. Those are our terms of endearment. My dad's nickname was Jetón, even though he didn't even have lips. I'm like, Ma, why do we call him Jetón? That's what his mom called him. That's why we call him that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Jetón, I know you probably don't want to do this, and you don't have to. I'm okay if you don't do it. But Mr. Conklin said you could come in for show and tell and you could teach my class how to do something. My dad worked in a factory, and before that he had worked in the fields his entire life. And I thought, well, you know, he's not going to want to. And I said, but it's okay, I don't want you to feel bad if you don't go. Like, I'm totally fine, I understand. Because I didn't want him to feel bad. Mi jetón immediately answered, ¿Cuándo? When? I'm like, uh-oh. No, pues que cuando usted pueda, Jetón, like whenever you can. Dile a tu maestro que sí voy. Tell your teacher that I'll go. I'm like, what what are you going to teach them, though? Because all you've taught me here is to mow the lawn Saturdays at 7 a.m. Like, I didn't know what he was going to teach them. And he said, les voy a enseñar cómo hacer pasas. I'm going to teach them how to make raisins. I'm like, well, that's dumb. They just come in a little red box. And they're like, what do you mean you're going to teach them how to make raisins? Les voy a enseñar. Va a ser sorpresa para ti también. It's going to be a surprise for you, too. I'm like, really? Who's going to be impressed? You're going to bring the little red box with raisins. Like, oh, this is how you make them. I had no idea. In the middle of the talk, my dad's like, so this is how grapes become raisins. And I remember me and the whole class like, what? We were in shock. We didn't know. That was the first time that I felt like, man, my dad taught you all something. Man, my dad showed you all, even though he can't speak English, he can do something that none of us could do. Man, I don't want you to say anything about my dad anymore because he doesn't speak English, because I used to hear it all the time. I remember leaving and my dad telling me, mijo, I know I don't know how to do a lot of things, but I wanted to make sure that I was here for you today. And I was like, well, you were, Don, thank you, I appreciate it. He said, and if anybody ever makes fun of you because your dad doesn't speak English, this is what he said, and I'm just telling you what he said. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Ask them if they try to move their entire family to a different culture, a different language to improve their lives, because most people wouldn't. And I was like, all right, well, I don't think anybody will, but I'll ask them anyway. Then I went to Mr. Gorbit. Then I had to move from Michigan to Zacatecas. And for some reason, I don't remember the names of all my teachers anymore. I don't know if it was the transition. I don't know if it was the bullying. I don't know if it's because I couldn't roll my R's very well in Spanish. So the guy that bullied me for years, his nickname was Donkey. So La Burra used to get me a lot because I couldn't say his name right. But I don't remember. But I don't think it's a coincidence. I didn't feel what I felt with these other teachers. The connection, the appreciation, the love for me and my family. And I want you to be aware of that, because I don't care how many degrees you have. Kudos to you if you have all of the degrees. I'm not saying that I don't care in that manner. I am saying that you could have all of the degrees in the world, but if you don't care, if you don't show up early, if you don't go that extra mile, you're not going to stand out. And I need you to stand out. So I want you to think about this before I move on. You too had a challenge when you were a student. I don't know if it was math, I don't know if it was the language, I don't know if it was the culture, I don't know if it was fitting in, I don't know if it was, like, for me, I wanted the coolest tennis shoes, except I could never get them, so now I have a problem and I have a tennis shoe issue. But we had a challenge. And it's hard to put ourselves back in that time frame, but remember back to that time frame, because back when you had that challenge, you didn't think you were going to get over it. You're like, well, I don't know. I guess this is how it's going to be. It's going to be tough. Remember how you overcame that challenge, and remind yourself so that you can help our students overcome that challenge. Now, I want to leave you with this, okay? A lot of the times when you have a speaker, they have you like repeat things. It's just not my thing. Good for them. Like, when I say this, you say that. When I say this, you say it louder. Okay, here we go. It's not my thing. I do want to leave you with these 5 points, not just for yourself, but for our scholars. I'm going to make a body movement to remind us of each one of the words. So for identity, I'm going to point at my eye. That's identity. For knowledge, I'll point at my head. For heart, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to go like this. Okay? For confidence, I don't know if you know, but look at confident people when they're speaking. They literally have their hands together like this and don't move. For some athletes on SportsCenter, it's a little uncomfortable because they're like this. Hands together for confidence. Bilingualism will be a little bit different. I'm just going to tap my mouth twice. Bilingualism. Okay? Now, I want to see if we can all get those words just as quickly as we got the 15 words. Okay? What is this? Look at y'all. just like that. Why? Because there's a body movement that goes along with it. If you're wondering why I'm teaching you in these random manners, it's so that you can use it with your students too. Watch, I'll do it in 2 minutes. I'm going to teach you how to teach your student how to give a speech on healthcare. Underneath your left foot, I want you to see a pile of cash. A stethoscope, stethoscope. Stethoscope, what is a stethoscope used for? To listen to your heart. If you don't hear them, put them in a bag, right? Okay, stethoscope. Right foot is the pile of cash, big old pile of cash, okay? Around your knees is a bunch of red tape. What's around your knees? Red tape. When you think of people that need a hip replacement, who do you think of? Some of you are looking at your neighbor. Stop, okay? Like, when you think of people that need a hip replacement, who do you think about? Elderly folks, grandma, grandpa, okay? Elderly folks, so we'll go with elderly. A big problem in this country is an organ that's in here. What is the organ? Heart disease. Now this is where it's weird. Balancing on your nose is a stapler. Staplers are used to put things together. And another issue with our health care is, if I point here, what kind of problems do you think I'm referring to? Mental health, okay? So I'm going to point and you tell me what it is. What's under my left foot? Okay, louder. What's under my left foot? Under my right foot. Around my knees. Elderly. Hip, very good. Elderly people. Heart. Stapler. Mental health. Most teens, kids, show up this way when they have to do a speech, and especially if they're behind these things. Hi. I don't know what this dance does to them, but it helps them relax. We teach them, put your feet in cement, shoulders back, chin up, and breathe. Why am I even here? Oh my God, what am I going to talk about? I totally forgot. Oh, I'm going to talk about healthcare. The reason I'm talking about healthcare is because it's so expensive and it's very difficult for people to afford it. And what is it about politics and why is there a stapler on my nose? Politicians are trying to put bills together to help with healthcare, but it's difficult to get through the red tape to help all those individuals that really need help, like the elderly, those suffering from heart disease, and more importantly, those suffering from mental health or mental illness. Just like that, you got your speech. Just like that, you were able to recall. And that's why I'm doing this, so that you could practice it with your students to remind them, your identity matters. And if you don't figure out what your identity is, somebody else will try to do it for you. Knowledge is there, and it's going to stay there. That can't just be pulled away. When you have a good heart, people notice. When you, as an educator, have a good heart, people notice. When you can exude confidence, somehow people think that you have it under control and you can handle everything. As educators, bless your hearts and I love you. What's the reward for doing a great job as educators? That confidence. That bilingualism. Show them people that are bilingual, that are doing great things. Show them that the majority of millionaires that live in this country aren't even from this country and speak 2-3 languages. Show them the athlete that's learning how to speak another language by watching movies, listening to music, and trying to do those press conferences. Show them the importance of being bilingual. Now, I want you to shout them out nice and loud to make sure that we can remember them. And as a matter of fact, stand up to make it more encouraging for you and me. I know, you sound just like the student, sorry. Stand up. I'm going to point, and then you will say the words that I'm hopeful you'll remember, but you can use with our students and use with one another as well, okay? I'll point, and you all say the word nice and loud. Okay, loud. I'm messing you up. Which one did we forget? Some of you are like, which one did I forget? Let's try it again. Identity. if we can teach our students these things, and we can live them ourselves, people like my mother, Maria Rosa Macías Saldívar, my father, Fortunato Mejia Flores, que en paz descanse, will continue to thank you the rest of their lives, just like they do all those educators that helped impact my life and got me to my 3 college degrees and to do what I do for a living now. I need you to remember that our families are counting on you and our students are watching you. I'll end with this, which is a bit controversial, but it is what it is. If you think our students, our parents, and your coworkers can't notice that you don't care, that you don't want to be here, that you're just collecting a paycheck, let me be the first to tell you that they can notice. And it does make an impact. And it might be time to update that resume. Just putting it out there. Because we need people that care, that go that extra mile, and to look out for one another. So on that note, I'd like to end like this. Do me a favor and spend the next minute giving a high five, a hug, and I appreciate you to anybody around you that's a coworker for doing a great job. This isn't the time to go look for that cute girl and be like, you're doing a great job, girl. Don't do that. Don't make it weird, okay? But it is a time to celebrate one another. My name's Ernesto Mejia Macías. Thank you very much, and let's celebrate one another.